Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench.
Greetings and welcome to episode 192 of Voices from the Bench. With a stuffy nose, my name is Elvis.
I was going to say, my name is Barbara, and you sound different for the first time in 192 episodes. Finally.
I'm a little under the weather. Got sick a little bit before Thanksgiving. A non-COVID sick, I might add. I was tested. Everything's negative. But it is possible to get other illnesses during this pandemic. So.
Oh, God. Well, you sound stuffy. I'm sorry. Sorry about your luck.
Yeah, it's the first day that I can finally breathe, so that's nice. You take it for granted when you can do it.
Yep, I know. So how was your Thanksgiving? Sick?
Sick, yeah. It was pretty sick. Not a whole lot going on. It was pretty low-key, but that was all right. How about yourself?
It was fantastic.
Did I see pictures of you celebrating Thanksgiving in short sleeves?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Actually, no sleeves. It was that beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had decent running weather here, but I've been too sick to enjoy it. Then.
Yeah, well, what's decent running weather?
To me, 50s.
Okay. Yeah, agree.
That's nice. Yeah. You can get going. You don't feel really hot. You don't get really cold. It's a nice balance.
Wow.
And this is Indiana, so next time you blink, it will be 22 and a foot of snow. So
yeah, pretty much. The only way I know that is because of you.
Yeah, okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. You can enjoy the seasons through me.
Oh, shit. All right. What's happening?
We're recording this the Friday after Thanksgiving. Are you not working?
No, I'm not freaking working, but I'm going in on Sunday.
Oh, well, that's still just as bad.
Yeah. I at least wanted 3 days off. So.
I'm surprised the lab closed today.
Yeah, well, so am I.
Yeah.
But we're closed, and I'm enjoying it. I went for a run, took the dogs for a walk, decorated my house, which I never do this early. I don't know what's happening to me. Decorated it. Haven't put the tree up, but everything's decorated, so I'm all good.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I'm avoiding being told to get the tree down from the attic, so just don't say that too loud.
Okay.
So, hey, do you need a great new shirt, a long sleeve or hoodie to show off how great of a dental technician you are?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Barb and I are selling podcast shirts again with the phrase on the back, dare to say no to bad impressions, based off the old 80s logo of dare to say no to drugs and violence.
Huh.
Yeah, we're actually doing pretty good. We sold quite a few already.
Sweet.
So they're sold in batches, so you have to order before Sunday, December 5th of 21 to get one, and then they'll ship about December 13th. They make great holiday gifts. Hint, hint, hint.
I will, because my girlfriend Sharon, she inspects impressions all day long. I got to get her one.
Oh, that's great for someone that has that job.
Yep.
So head over to voicesfromthebench.com and look for the Dare to Say No shirt link and order one today, or at least order before December 5th. And remember that always, Barb and I are not here to make money off of you. We donate 100% of the profits towards the Foundation for Dental Laboratory Technology. We make zero money. We give it all back to the industry that has made it possible for this podcast to exist.
That's right. And always will.
And without it, Barb and I would have nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
Except running and weather, apparently.
And alcohol.
And that too. So this week, we are again back at the Preet booth from the Whitmix Digital Forum that happened last October. This great event featured many speakers that talked about the future of the digital workflow in our industry. And this week, we talked to a speaker and a vendor from that event. First up is a wonderful and uplifting lady that recently moved to Florida from Kentucky, Whitney McCarty. Whitney sits down to talk about her unique journey to become a digital dental technician, how she chooses or doesn't choose between 3Shape and exocad, and the importance of CAD when doing full arch cases. And then we sit down with Gene Peterson, CDT, who is the Director of Technical Development and Learning at Sterngold. Gene talks about his background in labs, the history of Sterngold, and something we didn't know, it's one of the oldest companies in the industry, and how Sterngold has gone from manufacturing ERA attachments all the way to implants and minis. So join us as we chat with Whitney McCarty and Gene Peterson.
Whitmix's new VeriWash resin cleaning station is the ideal piece of equipment to use in the 3D printed resin post-process.
Its oscillating, multi-speed stirrer produces a tornado-like vortex every 30 seconds and guarantees efficient, effective, and powerful cleaning whether the units are individual or still attached to the build plate.
The 2 alcohol baths make an effective step wash system. It cleans more efficiently, and there's less alcohol needed since it is reused for both a fresh bath and a dirty bath.
The VeriWash's intelligent design offers features such as mode, time, and a start-stop button display, which gives the operator full and automatic control of the cleaning process.
A mesh basket used in the wash container makes it easy to keep track of all small, printed parts when cleaning. The affordable unit's 1-year warranty ensures peace of mind for the owner.
So visit them at whitmix.com or call 1-800-626-5651 for more information about this great new product.
And as always, we appreciate your support of the podcast, Whitmix. Voices from the Bench. The interview.
We're going to go right into this
Okay.
because this is Whitney.
Yes.
Whitney McCarthy. Is it McCarthy?
McCarty.
McCarty.
Right.
Ruined both names.
You better say it about 5 times if you want it accurate from this
Whitney.
one.
Whitney.
Whitney McCarty.
McCarty.
Without my southern accent.
You're big online. This is how I know you. Big 3 shape.
Yes.
Now ExoCAD.
Wow.
Yes.
But both. I still,
You dabble.
yeah. I mean, so honestly, what I learned and knew and grew in 3 shape is what helped me be able to take off in ExoCAD.
Yeah.
When I first started using it, I was like, wait, this is a different way of thinking. It's a different type of system. 3 shape is more of like a design tree workflow, right?
Yeah, it's good for production.
Yes. ExoCAD is more of like an open, I can go here and back there and here and back there.
So what
like
do you
to
like
different
better?
steps.
I think you like ExoCAD
Wearing
better,
a
and I've heard
3-shape
that from
t-shirt.
several-
Gosh.
But you're on either camp, or both,
Yes.
because there's some
Yeah,
good
like,
here and there's some good there. And
It's 3 shape, the people there and the family of friends that I've developed there couldn't be replaced with anyone.
Sure.
Like really, really good people. And what I learned through 3 shape, I could not put a price tag on it, literally. It launched me into everything that I'm doing now. And Mark Dixon, he spent so much time just training me personally. And
Why?
I asked him that. I did. I was
Why
like,
did he single you out?
probably
for
because he
the-
saw genius in you.
well,
Hello. What else is there?
oh, this is my girl over here. No, I asked, I'm like, thank you so much for your time. Like, because I know so many people asking for help. And he said, you were nice. And you said thank you and you were appreciative. And we just jived. And I would ask him questions and then he would ask, the digital denture thing was what he wanted to know more about. And so once he got me up to a certain place, he asked me about the dentures. And then we started working on that. And then the thing about Mark, and this is the thing about the study group that I think that if you could read between the lines for what it is, telling someone how to do something, click here, click that, do this, that does not help anybody. You're going to run into that situation again.
And they won't be there to tell you to click
Yes,
here, click
it's
there.
the understanding of how it works. If you can figure out the inner part of what makes that software tick, you're
Then you get
that's
it.
it.
And you
Like
can
you can
answer
do
your own
anything you want to do.
questions. Yeah.
Yes, and that's what Mark helped me do. He didn't tell me, "Hey, this is what you do here." He would say, "Imagine if you could do this." Well, what if you could do that? Well, does this go together this way? And I would go back over it, and I'd watch him do it, and then I'd study my notes, and then I'd go back over it. And one day, it just clicked. And it was right before COVID hit, and I was on fire. Like,
That's awesome.
COVID hit, and I was like, what? What just happened? No, like, this can't be happening. And so I just continued to study and dig in. And then for ExoCAD, I'm not going to say I've changed over, because at my job, that is what we use, is ExoCAD. Yeah. And that's what I use. I design hybrids out of ExoCAD. But I use the same principle for how I did them in 3Shape is the same way I do it in ExoCAD.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. And one of the guys at the lab at Midwest that taught me how to start using ExoCAD, because the buttons are different.
Sure, yeah.
The tools are different.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm in ExoCAD and I'm like, man, I wish they did this, and 3Shape does it.
Yeah.
And then I could be in 3Shape and I'm like, oh, I know ExoCAD does this.
Yeah, I wish it could do it. Yeah.
Yes. But I can't answer
Don't
that
take
question.
sides.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fine.
exactly.
It was a trick question.
Yeah. So Elvis knows you, but
Yeah.
I don't. So,
Yeah.
like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? You said you design hybrids
yeah.
and anteriors, posteriors, everything, bars.
I
like
mean,
what?
I can do all of those things, yes. And I do thimble bars. I mean, I can do, like, the zirconia overstructure bars.
Wow.
Nice.
And I did more of those before I came to Midwest, but now it's the thimble bars now.
Wow.
And the hybrids. I don't really have time to do anything besides hybrids, because
That's an
I
art.
have a flow with it.
Yeah.
I also oversee the milling there at Midwest, not officially, but I'm very much a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And kind of dialing in the milling on the full arches with the Hyperdent software, Millbox software, and we have many different mills there.
Sure.
And then also just with the hybrid workflow, kind of what needs to happen to these cases and the things that develop and are changing, going more digital, receiving ICAM files, PIC files,
Oh, yeah.
all those
Wow.
things, and making sure that some people it's kind of a challenge for them to understand how you can go from analog to digital and how you can correlate that information.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that, so I help with that.
Yeah.
So that's what I do there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Where
not
is
much.
Midwest?
Not much.
Well, not a whole lot. I'm really bored, actually.
A lot of everything.
Yeah. Naps in the day.
Yeah.
Where's
Drinking by
Midwest?
2.
I don't know where that is.
So Midwest Dental Arts, Jamie Schropp is the owner, president and founder, actually. He started the lab 26 years ago in Iowa.
Okay.
Yes.
So I've heard of the lab itself, but I didn't know where they were located.
But it's not there anymore.
Well, they have, so the one in Iowa is still there. That's
Okay.
our kind of our home office. And there was one in, I think, Kansas City, but that one is in the process of kind of fading out.
Yeah.
We have one in Connecticut. I almost said Canada,
wow.
Connecticut. And then we have a Sarasota location and a Palm Bay location.
Okay, because I'm in
Yeah.
Tampa.
Okay,
And I said, I know darn
sweet.
well Midwest is right south of me.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that where you're at?
I'm in Palm Bay, actually.
Okay.
So Justin McElroy, he's in Sarasota, and that's the location that he oversees, and then I'm over in Palm Bay.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Small
Jamie's
world.
actually in Palm Bay as well, the owner.
So what you haven't talked about is where you came from.
yeah.
Because this is interesting.
Yeah.
You were a in-office technician, completely green.
Yes and no. So I actually started out in clinic back in 2011.
So you were dental
An
assistant?
EDA, expanded duties dental
Okay.
assistant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I placed fillings. Really took me probably about 5 years to really feel like I was like, okay, I can do anything you need me to do. In the process of that, I worked in endo, and then I transitioned into cosmetic full cases. There was a doctor that really took me under his wing, and he actually was the doctor that launched me into the all-on-4 cases.
Yeah.
He was retired veteran, actually.
Wow.
Decided to come back to the university and teach University of Kentucky, and he decided to start seeing patients here and there, but just the cases he wanted to do.
Pick and choose.
Good
Right.
call.
Right. So Wes Kaufman, that's his name, and so we worked together, and I had a blast. It was just a different transition out of, your fillings, your
Oh,
MODO,
yeah, big
MOD,
time.
just full mouth
So you're still doing
restorations.
clinical at this point.
I was, yeah. So then that was up till 2017, and then a colleague of his that he worked with long ago that done the all-on-4 surgeries came to the university. And so then we started going in there and doing the conversions with them.
Wow.
And then I started training on the surgical side and understanding what the implants were and how those kits were and, like, how the multi-units went on and the stat guides.
Wow, yeah.
Wow.
Then when Dr. Kaufman actually retired, Dr. Tucker, Stephen Tucker, is the oral surgeon that I was working with. I started working with him primarily.
Okay.
And making sure he had all of his parts. I was in the surgeries assisting. Actually,
That's intense.
yes, it is
A lot
intense.
of blood.
It's
How'd you
intense.
handle that?
I
Did it
loved it.
Really?
Yeah, it's
You've got to be a natural
it's
to love
inten-
that. Just
oh,
saying.
thank you.
That's pretty special. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm
pass
the
out.
worst.
No, it's a life-changing moment for the patient.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they get to go to sleep and wake up with new teeth. And so I got into taking the records with those photos, preparing for those surgeries, being in them, like I said, ordering the parts, and then went from there to implant clinic coordinator, still with Dr. Tucker, but I worked with the 3rd and 4th year dental students at the university.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So teaching them how to scan, take records, photographs for what they needed to plan for a surgery.
You were teaching?
Yes, the 3rd and 4th year students, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so along with the oral surgeons. Then from there, and actually that university is Straumann University.
Okay, sure.
He used Nobel for his all-in-4 systems, but Straumann is that school's
Yeah.
primary use.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I learned a lot about implants there
Yeah, I
from
bet.
the components and
Big
how they go together and what works and what doesn't work.
Yep.
And then from there, I went to work for Brandon Stapleton,
Yep.
prosthodontist at Identity Dental Studio.
He's
and
been on the podcast. Yep.
yeah, actually, yeah, him and
Yeah.
Bart together.
Bart, yeah.
yeah, and
Long
that's
time ago.
Yeah, that's how I actually know who Bart is, because Dr. Stapleton is such a huge fan of his and his
Yeah.
work. I mean,
Wow.
geez,
Yeah, it's Bart,
amazing.
yeah.
And then when I started working for him, he hired me as actually the lab manager and I left one thing out. So when I was at the university, I did Crown and Bridge CAD.
Oh, okay.
I trained with their digital dentistry team there.
They had a lab in the school?
And
Interesting.
they actually had a digital dentistry department. They were growing there. Dr. Marcus Aboud, he was the overseer of that. And so he allowed me to train with them.
So what system do they have at the school? Reshape? Exocad? In-lab?
No, actually they have dental wings.
Ugh.
I know,
no.
right?
I bet you
See, I
didn't
left
think
all
of
that
that
out,
one, did
right? So Crown and Bridge, and then I actually started designing crowns for the faculty there because I worked at the faculty location.
Yep.
Yes, and so I was in clinic too.
Holy schmoly.
So I would go in before work, design, work, learn,
Yeah.
spend my lunch break designing because I would be in clinic between and stay after and learn. And one of my supervisors there, she was like, Whitney, you're not getting paid any extra for doing this. Why are you doing this? And I was like, I love it.
Yeah.
It's going to pay
Yeah.
off one day.
Yeah.
I can't stop doing this. If I only did clinic and didn't get to touch a computer again, I would be so sad. And it wasn't long after that Brandon had reached out for a job for me. And so when I started doing just crowns and flippers and that kind of thing, and because it was 3-Shape, that was my first real use with 3-Shape.
Dr. Stapleton got all in.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't mess around. I mean, he did a lot.
You know him?
Well, we had him on the
I know, but I'm just saying,
podcast,
you before that, you knew
No,
him?
I didn't know him before
Okay.
that.
No, he's
Yeah.
he's like, okay, this is one thing I learned from him. The value of something. Like, is this going to pay off for us in the long run?
Yeah.
And whatever you've got to invest in it right now to get you where you need to be later. And I learned that from him and still applicable in my life
Yeah,
today.
no, absolutely.
Yeah, and so he was doing his own designs for the all-on-4s, not all of them, but the
Yeah.
ones he could keep in-house. And I sat there with him one night and was like, I want to do that. And he's like, it's not easy. And I said, okay, but I'm going to learn it.
Yeah.
And so I started doing them, and then he was like, go,
There you go.
do it. And I started doing digital dentures, and I did that course with Whitmix, and that added to what I had already been training myself.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with him being a prosthodontist there, learning all the phonetics of the dentures being there was extremely helpful. And we just grew. I mean, we blew up.
Yeah.
So you trained in digital dentures as well?
Yeah.
Damn, she knows it all.
Yeah. Well,
Can you come to our lab?
yeah. I mean, I just enjoy it.
Yeah,
It's
you can
just,
tell.
yeah, thank you. And I don't like not knowing how to do something because then I'm limited, right? Like, And then at least my understanding of it is for understanding how something works or goes together. I feel like I can't truly contribute to it unless I understand the whole thing.
How often does Dr. Stapleton call to try to get you to come back?
Actually, I think they've got a good team there now.
Do they?
So, yeah, there was a technician that we hired before I left.
Was she at the last Whitmix show?
Patty, she was already there. And
Yes.
then there's Brandon. It was the new guy. And so I think
Brandon hired a Brandon?
Brandon hired a Brandon.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, and so they've still got their core team there.
Good.
So, yeah.
Okay.
It was not an easy thing leaving, but it was time.
Yeah, but you went from Louisville,
Louisville.
Florida.
Good call.
So, right,
Just
thank you,
saying.
right?
From
I
a
mean,
Florida girl herself.
Literally. I mean, I walk outside every day and I'm
yeah.
like, oh, really?
So when you showed up here yesterday and it was raining and
Oh,
it's cold.
Oh, I got off the plane in a T-shirt and I was like, oh, I didn't even, where's my jacket?
You see what I'm wearing? Short sleeves. I'm like,
right?
I'm freezing. I want to
Well,
go back home.
It's been cold in Florida this
know.
week, though.
We
I've had
just
my
missed
heat
it.
on, right?
Just missed it.
When
There
do
was
you
a
guys
cold
turn your
front when
heat
I
on in
left.
Florida?
Oh,
Like
God. Pretty much
75?
immediately.
Yes, I know. It's weird, though, because I have my favorite place I like to go to eat is right on the river. If the wind's blowing, I'm like, no, we're not sitting over there. It's cold.
Cold.
I have to sit over in the middle.
Once you get used to the heat, like
I
cold
know.
is 65,
Right?
68.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's freezing right now.
And you've only been down there for less than a year, right?
Yeah, but I'm cold-blooded, so I
Doesn't
need
take
the
long
heat.
to get
no,
used to it.
Yeah, so you're
I-
out there laying on the rocks.
Yeah, like a lizard. Since July 2nd, that was my first day at Midwest Dental Arts.
Wow, that's not that long ago.
Yeah,
at
no.
all.
And so, actually, I wanted to expand what I was doing and kind of develop what I specifically in the hybrid area
Yeah.
and in a lab setting. And that's the thing, I learned so much too about the hybrids with Dr. Stapleton.
Sure. Clinically, you've learned a lot.
Oh, my
That's-
gosh.
You can't get that in a lab.
No
way.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing. I could do my hybrid designs and then go in there for the try-ins.
See 'em.
Like
Yep.
remove their prosthetic, place the try-in on, get my own photos, talk to the patient.
Are you doing that now?
No, not now. So it's just lab now. But
Yeah.
I'm in the future,
Is that the
I
plan?
think there may be plans for that type of thing because Justin, he is able to go in and do
Yeah.
those things now. So it's really invaluable.
Oh, absolutely.
And just knowing what you need to do from here, like, I could move this tooth, that's not right. And then that's the iCam was what I was using at Brandon's office.
You had one of those things?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Do you know what that is, Barb? That's the
No.
thing where it looks like dominoes are in people's mouth.
Uh-huh.
And you take like a whole picture and
Yes.
it's I don't know if I'm explaining it right.
No,
but it looks
you
like
are.
they have dominoes in
It
their
does.
mouth.
I always say that when I'm telling someone about it.
It's the weirdest looking thing.
It's pretty crazy, but it's so extremely accurate and efficient. And I can say that from getting records and then doing the design and being there just to feel that go in the patient's
Yeah.
mouth.
It just
Oh,
right in there.
it's-
Passive, beautiful fit.
Yes.
Yeah.
On a model, yeah, we make sure things are passive,
Yeah,
sure.
sure.
But it's a different kind of passive. You just got to feel it to understand it. It's
appreciate it.
amazing.
So does,
yeah.
does the lab own the iCam or?
Yeah.
Okay, so you loan that out to the doctor. Give us
Well,
this information.
Yes. So the doctor uses it, and then Justin's there for the assistance, and vice versa. Kind of they
Yep.
lean on each other, right? Because
Yep.
the doctor needs to know what information we need. We need to know what the doctor and the patient is going for, and so that makes things extremely efficient when we're moving the cases through.
Yep.
And I think there are plans, like I said, to kind of bring that later to the Palm Bay side. So
Nice.
Wow.
yeah, it's very nice. And the doctors appreciate it. And like what I did in Lexington, just being able to go to them, we'll line your patients up, 3 or 4, let's do it together, knock those out, get the records, take them back, and no model pouring, it's just a transfer of information.
Well, the whole iffy, if I get the impression wrong, I'm screwed for the
Exactly.
rest of the whole case is done.
Right.
It's nice that you have that. I don't
Yes.
understand how they work. There's dots and
It's
paddles. I mean, they are sticking out of the mouth.
photogrammetry, 4D information. I've never seen it not work.
Really?
Not one time. I mean, And from the jump, I mean, and we had even, because Dr. Stapleton had went to a course where he learned, before we got the ICAM, how to do the intraoral scanning and do it from there. And we would have success with some cases, and then some there just weren't.
Yeah.
And it was unpredictable. So that's why we went that way.
That's cool.
And it's super predictable, it sounds like.
It is.
Wow.
It's very, I mean, I didn't create the technology. I just know it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow.
Yeah, so lots of fun, exciting things going on, and I'm very much looking forward to what happens in the future. And today I was here speaking on the C-clamp.
I was going to ask you about that. I thought that was tomorrow, but you spoke on the C-clamp. So that's great.
Yes.
That's Roland's C-clamp, right?
It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Ian was actually, we shared the room. Mm-hmm. So he was in there for questions, with mine, and I was in there with his. So it actually worked out really, really well.
So do you do every full arch with a C-clamp?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would not do one without one.
Because this is what allows you to mill directly onto the facial. Mm-hmm. So without the C-clamp, you're limited.
Very much. And it's not just the facial, it's the angles that you're able to obtain, because when you think about camming something that's got metal all around the sides, it can only turn so far. And
then you're hitting metal.
Yeah. And so then if that's open and out of the way, well then if you've got your open face here, you can go this way, this way, this way.
Yeah.
I mean, and my preference is that I take that puck out of the mill and I don't have to touch it. So that's what I strive for every time. Yeah. Well, like I said, we use Hyperdent and Millbox. So with the Hyperdent, I really focus on the user-defined area, telling that burr where to go. I hope to get into the more advanced side of it where I'm making my own strategies.
For cam, that's
Yes.
huge.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yes.
You need to talk to John Wilson. He was on the podcast talking about that, and I was like,
he's the man.
Heck yeah.
He's got it under control. All of it.
It's way over my head, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Just saying, I've got all the respect for that.
Oh, man.
It's so neat.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
I'm so thankful to know that.
I mean,
man.
every lab, you get your mill, and you just go with the cam software they gave you.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But opening that up,
Yeah.
that changes what you're doing.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. And I even shared that in my presentation today.
Yeah, I stole that earlier. No, I'm just kidding.
You were there.
Yeah.
I just didn't see you.
Just taking notes.
So when we first started milling full arches at Identity, it was closed. The 52 didn't have a C-clamp.
Yeah.
So even, it's so funny because the first one I ever milled on a C-clamp, I didn't mill it open face. I was so used to doing it the other way, and I got it out, and I was like, huh.
I don't notice that.
Didn't even use it. Yeah, I learned from that one, but it just progressed from there. And now the results that I get out of being able to define all the areas I need that to get to, you run into issues where the arch is really wide, right? Like there's not much you can do. Or only certain little angles that you can take. But any bit of information that you can get in there and take out undercuts is going to help you in the green state.
Yeah.
I don't like having to touch it after it's milled because the mill does such a nice job of leaving it so smooth, right? Then you go in there with a blade and burrs.
Yeah,
and then you have to, you're messing with the precision. You can't measure the pound pressure you have with a blade going at something.
No, yeah, and you're working on chalk.
Yeah.
Right. And it's precision designed. It should be precision milled. And so that's what I strive for each time, that I don't have to touch it.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, no, wait. Am I there where I don't have to touch it?
Yeah.
On some of them.
Yeah.
It depends. Like I said, there's some situations where you can't get it all because of their arch form. But for the most part, I feel like I am. And actually had a talk with Jordan Greenberg. He's the president of Hyperdent North America last week. Talking to him about they have a very advanced system at the top where you can make your own cam strategies. He's got some excellent employees there. Mark Fisher and Jonathan, I can't think of his last name, but they do that. And if I had something really difficult, I could say, hey, can you all help me with this? We had one that barely fit in the puck the other day. And Mark helped us with that. But it's with that advanced system that you can basically make that mill strategy do whatever you want.
So you're changing the mill strategy for each case?
Yes. So
That's nuts.
Yes. So I go in and I add, like, it has your basic, right?
Yeah.
Your roughing, your screw hole access, all those things, and then go in and add exactly where I need it to go to get all these undercuts out. And we actually recently, within the past couple of months, have had a huge success with milling the rosin. And that, if you've seen on social media, has been just a problem for a lot of people.
Milling what again?
The Rosin or Rosin, I'm not sure which way is the proper way to say it.
Yeah.
Dan Rosin. Yeah, the screw that they have, it's
Oh, that weird
yeah,
flared screw.
Yes, there you go.
With that, it needs no
No
parts.
tie base.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're not allowed to talk about that.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Just kidding.
Oh. Who's over there? Oh, you. I think you all are close, right?
Every case needs a tie base.
Every case needs a tie base, right? So that is direct to multi-unit, right? So then you're talking about no
You gotta get some
room
burrs
for
down in
error.
there.
Yes,
Wow.
0. And the taper for that screw to catch. And so it took us some time and some trial and error and working with Hyperdent, and we've got that dialed in very nicely.
Do you ever do a full arch, get it all done, get it out of the center of it, put a screw in it, drops right through, and you're like, crap.
Well, that's what happened in the beginning
Yeah.
when we were learning how to
There's
do
nothing
that.
you can do.
Not one thing you can do.
You can't add to it.
Nope. And you can't put it back in that clamp either because it's not going to be the same, right? Like if you
wow.
remove it, like lining that up specifically just for that arch, like there's no way to really do that. I've tried. Unless somebody can and they've got one over on me, but I've tried.
Would you trust self-nesting software to handle the nesting? Because there's some companies out there that are
I feel
nesting
like
for you.
if you understand what burrs do what, like there's a step process for what comes first and second. And,
Yep.
you know, just like where you place your sprues, you know, it's on that equator line, right?
Yeah.
Like this burr can go this far, this burr can go this far. So knowing what happens on the inside there and how to navigate that, I think some people could. But, I mean, I'd say it would take me some training for sure. Because Millbox, Hyperdent, whatever, they do the core of the camming.
Yeah.
The main job is there. You're just editing little things that you want done specifically.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
You spend more time catting or camming? Sounds like you spend a lot of time camming.
I do.
Yeah.
But I also spend a lot of time catting.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
I try to
And you love
split
both,
it.
which
I
is
do.
super important.
Yeah.
Sounds like you do.
I mean, it matters, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you have the most precision, beautiful, perfect design. If it's not milled accurately,
then
Yeah.
it doesn't make a damn bit of
no,
difference.
not a
Yep.
bit. Then if you have tie base fit issues or occlusion or just aesthetics even. Yeah, the doctor says, can you take the cervical of number 10 up about a millimeter or just a millimeter. And then in Green State, in the milling, it doesn't mill out all the way. You've got some undercuts there. Then how are you going to? Yeah, you can compare it visually, sure. And we have good eyes, right? We're technicians. You can compare it to the STL, but then where you lost that precision.
Yeah.
So that's what we strive to do.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun too.
That's great.
I'm glad you're having fun because it sounds like
Yeah,
a lot of
you
work.
are. I can tell. It's contagious.
Awesome.
I love the
I'm
way
glad.
you explain it. I'm so much smarter now. I'm serious.
Hey, you'll have to come see us sometime.
I would love to.
Yeah,
That would be great.
Awesome.
How far away is it?
Maybe
an
an hour
hour?
and a half.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Probably not even.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
That would be super cool. Actually, have you heard about our Performance Dental Institute? So, like, we have Midwest Dental Arts in Palm Bay, right? This side of the building is a training facility. You would not believe it. It's phenomenal.
Trained dentists or trained technicians?
Both.
Nice.
Yeah. So, we did a course back in September. There was a doctor there that is from Ukraine,
Okay.
cosmetic doctor. His name slips my mind right now. Amazing.
Yeah.
Was doing veneers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there was doctors that were there for that one.
Yeah.
And then we have a course coming up in November, and it's Brandon Crawford's Smart Denture Conversion System.
Nice.
So you'll have doctors and technicians.
That's cool.
Coming to
That's
that.
the best of both worlds.
Oh,
so how
man.
do you find out about it? Tell our listeners. So where would we go to find out
well,
about it?
so we have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. And I post it on my feed sometimes. I haven't shared it, I don't think, to like the dental lab technicians group.
yeah.
I need to do that.
You got to check that out.
Yeah.
What's
but
it called again?
Performance Dental Institute.
Performance Dental
Yeah.
Institute. Love it.
It's amazing. You just wouldn't believe microscopes, full surgical suite like on the stage.
Wow, you going to be up there teaching?
Probably
maybe one day.
eventually. Yep. From the sounds of it.
I think
Thank
if you
you.
want to, you will be. That's
Yeah.
just
Thank
like
you.
how you do things.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think I want to.
There you go.
I think I enjoy the learning so much. And there was another guy that was there, which it was more for like our technicians, Felix Pages.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah,
He's great.
He is, and
What
so
did he
funny.
teach?
Well, he's a ceramist,
Ceramist.
master
Okay,
ceramist.
yeah.
Yeah. And he worked for Vita for years, and he's like all things zirconia, and
He's really good.
Yeah.
And he's a great teacher.
oh my
That's
gosh,
wonderful.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have known that.
Oh,
'cause I would
man.
have come and see him.
oh man,
For
I
sure.
mean it was very much a special thing for me to be able to work with him. We still talk actually, and he went to the University of Kentucky, and I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, and so Lee Culp, he was telling me when I was coming here today, he was like, "Hey, tell my buddy Lee." I said hello.
Nice.
So yeah, I've had a lot of very cool like connections and experiences there. So I feel like I'm still learning and absorbing and
Never stop.
Always.
right. But looking forward to the next get together. I think I've got some things lined up to do there in Chicago.
Oh, are you
Yeah.
going to be
You.
speaking in Chicago?
So I don't even know if I'm allowed to say right now or not.
Probably not,
Probably
so.
not. But there's a couple things
Maybe.
lined up. Right? Maybe I'll to err on the side of caution for now. But I'm sure I'll see you there.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, fantastic!
Well, thank
I'm
you.
so
Thank you all.
happy
Yeah.
to finally meet
Hey,
you.
I know, right? Like I've seen you before, like interviewing other people.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's great.
I'm happy too.
I love your story.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Me too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And you're a lot of fun online.
Thanks. So
That's
you are
fun.
too.
Yeah.
We have lots of fun.
Yes, we do. Awesome. Well, thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
sitting
Thank
down.
you.
Enjoy the
Yeah,
rest of
thanks
the
for
day.
having me. You all
Yeah,
too. Thank
go
you.
get a drink.
I'm about to.
What time is it?
I'm 5 o'clock.
Awesome. Whitmix Digital Forum, Day 2. And to prove that the podcast is unbiased, we are talking to Gene Peterson from Sterngold. CDT, how are you, sir?
It's good to be here. I'm so glad what you guys do with the for the dental lab industry. It's incredible.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
What's your story? How long have you been with Sterngold?
About a year and a half now.
Okay.
Yeah. So my history goes back. I mean, I've been a technician for about close to 35 years.
Wow.
Started right out of college, working with some people that you were talking to recently, learning how to make dentures, and moved to Arizona and started my lab and was a full-service lab. Actually made dentures and then learned how to do ceramics and did everything and did that for about better part of 18, 20 years.
Wow.
And had an opportunity to sell the lab and went to work with a company that was doing a startup for digital dentures. So that was back in 2000, I guess it was 2012.
Digital dentures? You're kidding
Yeah,
me.
I was,
Wow, that was
I was
early.
I was on the freeway driving home in Scottsdale, Arizona, thinking about what I was going to do after I had signed the papers to sell my lab, and heard on the radio that a guy was coming into town to make digital dentures. And
On the radio?
on the radio, yeah, it was a new business coming into town. Went down there and next morning and put a tie on and said, what are we doing here with dentures? How are we making them with dentures? Thinking that, I mean, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, back in the early 90s, I was working on the first CEREC machines that came into the country doing beta testing with certain people and thinking how crazy digital was back then.
Working with Norbert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, back then, it was a bad temp machine.
Yeah.
It was a horrible. Sarah one
God,
was
it
a bad,
was,
at
too.
anything if it was a bad temp machine. And how are we going to ever, get over this hump? And, how long it took it to become standard of care,
Yeah.
I was into CEREC and I did in-lab and Nobel and all those things. And, I mean, digital is digital now, but I'm thinking, how in the world are we going to do dentistry or dentures? And same question with these folks. They had been doing implants for a long time. And they said, what's left in dentistry to digitize? And they said, dentures.
Yeah,
and so they set out to do that. So they spent some time developing that, and they came on the market 2012. We launched, and they brought me on. And literally, I walked in there, and they said, you're the right person we need for a clinical staff. And I became their clinical go-to, and we developed a digital denture, and did that for 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Are they still around?
Yeah. Can I say who it is?
Yeah, of
absolutely.
course.
Yeah, as long as you can.
I say it a lot with a lot of pride, because I had a lot to do with it. Avident.
Okay.
No kidding.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
had to have been. There was
Yeah.
nobody else in
no,
it that
Avident's
early.
huge
Yep.
in the early development.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. We were the
had
tip
no
of the
idea.
sword. Yeah, we were the tip of the sword, and we did a lot. We did a lot for the industry. We paved a lot of ways for what people are doing here.
Were you there when Robert Cryer was there?
I was there before Robert. Yeah,
Yeah.
Robert and I worked side by side.
I was
Yeah.
thinking that.
That
Yeah.
dude's smart.
Yeah.
He actually came in and took over the clinical role, and I went back to the manufacturing and continued to develop the acrylics and
Nice.
our milling technologies, things like that. So yeah, we worked together until he went back to his lab micro. So
Yep.
yeah, good guy. But yeah, no, that was probably 2016, 17 maybe.
Yep.
And so yeah, my journey with them started in 2012.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was fun. It was
early.
a great journey. And right before COVID, an opportunity came up where I was put in touch with some people with Stern Gold, kind of roundabout, and it was the right opportunity at the right time, and I couldn't pass it up. And it's been great ever since.
So obviously you were familiar with Stern Gold back in your lab days.
The first thing I ever bought was a Stern Gold part. Ever. With my first credit card, my first supply piece of anything I bought was because I had
housing?
borrowed tools. It was an ERA. It was an ERA. Yeah,
yeah.
it was an ERA piece, and I remember that. And I mean, Stern Gold goes back forever.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
We're celebrating our 125th year
That
anniversary
old?
next year.
When did they start? They didn't make
1897.
attachments
No, it
back
was an
then.
alloy company.
It was an alloy company.
There's only
Well, it makes
arguably-
sense. It's called Stern Gold.
Yeah, Stern. Well, Stern. It was Stern Alloy is what it was. Stern Metal.
Really?
Wow.
In
I
New
didn't
York
know
City,
that.
in downtown New York City. And yeah, they, arguably one other company that's maybe older, and that's Garfield, because I think Garfield had an earlier start. But as far as selling dental materials for dental purposes, we're it.
I mean, you hear about the 100 years of this company and 75 of this
Well,
company.
Whitmix, we
Yeah.
were just talking about that
What's
earlier.
there?
100 years.
100 years, yeah.
It was 100 2 years ago.
That is crazy.
But yeah, Stern
Yeah, I remember
Gold
that
is
100,
that?
yeah, Stern Gold, yeah. So we're planning some fun things next year, and
Sure.
yeah, it's exciting. We're trying to dig out. It's funny the things we find, because I'm in charge of all the archive materials, all the old stuff. Okay?
Really?
I'm
Yeah.
still getting stuff from people from. I mean, Bernie used to work there 20, 30 years ago, so
No kidding.
he tells me stories about the place, and I dig things out in my office that had been hidden for who knows how long. We have a cabinet of attachments. We probably have the best selection of antique attachments in the world. I mean, it's a boneyard. I mean, but think of all the
For
stuff.
sale?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
no.
yeah.
For
From time to
sale?
time,
I don't know.
Unofficially, from time to time, if somebody gets to a jam, we'll pull it out, and
Yeah.
we'll go digging. But
Yeah.
we just don't know what's in there. But
So the lab I used to be at was started in like 82. And the owners were big into Stern Gold. And
Yeah.
we had, it used to be called AM Stern Gold?
well,
Stern AM something?
they had a partner, and they were Cookson. They're
Okay.
part of Cookson, their big alloy company, metal company.
Yeah.
Implement is what it was.
Implement.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they had Implement. In fact, I got over there on one of the models has Stern Gold Implement on the back of it. So that's what it was for a
We
long
had
time.
ancient parts in this lab from
Yeah.
Stern Gold. I mean, so old.
Well, the original implant parts were all Implement parts because they bought Stern Gold bought
Yeah.
Implement, and so that's how they became part of that. And then they dropped that, many years ago, and now they separated from Cookson. Now became independent. Now
Yeah.
we're just on our own. So
So can you tell me a little bit about Stern Gold? Because I don't know as much as you do, obviously. So
we take pride in having the first attachment. So you've heard Locator, the word
Yeah.
Locator. It's a great name in industry. I mean, it's in the industry. Everybody knows about Locator, but actually we were the first to devise.
ERA was first.
ERA was first. It was the first resilient, truly resilient
What does
attachment.
ERA stand for?
Well, that's arguably
Nobody really knows?
nobody really knows. There's a
Interesting.
controversy there,
Really?
but basically it's a resilient attachment.
Yeah.
So
so is Stern Gold all attachments?
well, no, we've been alloys. I mean, it was originally an alloy company, and then we got into the attachments back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. We were
It's nuts to think that
we
they
were
had those back then.
some rudimentary attachments. The GL attachment, if you ever worked with
Sure.
those. That was the first attachment they had, and they just built on technology that was out there. There wasn't a whole lot, and so they just thought things up and they pushed through, and we became, we put the ERA out there in the 80s, and it became the standard of care. I mean, everybody had ERAs.
I know.
It was huge.
It was huge. And then a few folks that had worked, in conjunction with Stern Gold, went and formed Zest, and they did the locator.
That's how it works.
And it's all good. It's all good. We have a great relationship with Zest, and we sell locators.
Do you?
Yeah. We love to sell locators.
That's interesting.
The Stern Gold has been known as the attachment company. I mean, for probably 10, 15 years. I mean, they sold more ERAs than anything. I mean, it was.
What do you sell more of?
Yeah.
OD or PD?
What does that
You
stand
mean OP?
for?
You mean the micros or the standards?
Even the standard. So it's either on top of like an overdenture or off the distal, which would be for a partial, a PD.
Okay, that makes
and we
sense.
used to order OD, PD, OD. But we did more PD cases with.
Yeah, the distal attachment.
Yes.
Yeah, the distal. I've done hundreds and hundreds of those in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And that was, like I said, the first thing I bought. So if we do sell those are kind of legacy parts now, even though we still sell and I'll talk about that in a second, but it would probably be the distal extension.
Yeah.
And we have our ERA implants, too, which is basically an implant with the ERA
It's
on
a
top of
good
it.
distal option.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best option for a partial. Yeah, it really is, to get resilience and get good stabilization. It's just a great, it's a great product. So to answer your question, now we're not so much attachments anymore. We still hold that very, very dearly to our heart, but we're an implant company. We manufacture implants.
Well, what's replacing attachments? Implants.
Yeah.
That's why you don't see as many
True.
distal extensions, because it's now the standard of care to put an implant in.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's standard of care is to have. How many people go home with a lower denture and they put it in a drawer because it doesn't fit?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
it doesn't do it.
All
And
the
so standard of care now for the ADA is to put a couple of implants, a couple of minis, or some standard implants in and secure it. That's the best way to go. So we got into obviously we've been doing implants since the ERA the implement days.
Yeah.
And we've got several lines that predate our current lines of implants. We adopted the mini implant, the small diameter implant, a few years ago when 3M actually it went from the MTech MDI, if you remember that.
Oh yeah.
And that went to 3M, and then when 3M dumped it, we took it over. And now we sell more mini implants than anybody else in the country.
With the same standard O-ring.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
It's all the same stuff.
You don't put an ERA on top of it?
No, not the minis.
Yeah.
No, not the minis. We do have a small diameter. We have a small diameter ERA implant that has it's all one piece. Yeah, it's a standard abutment. But the minis we sell tons because really nobody served that market after
everybody
3M got
abandoned it.
Yeah, everybody got away with it. So there was a little bit of bad talk about it because people were using them wrong. They were using them for crown and bridge.
Sure.
And, they'd put two minis in and put a posterior crown on it.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are people still with those in their head, and they still work. But it's
There's
as
doctors
far as
still doing it.
is it good dentistry? It's
Not
debatable.
really.
It's- I'm being nice.
Yeah.
We preach conservative use of minis. If you want to do a single crown, make sure it's a single, anterior. You can replace number 7 or lateral, something like that. It's totally.
I had a
totally
surgeon that
good.
always did it on people that weren't of age yet. So like a 14-year-old was missing it. They'd put in a mini. We'd make a crown on it. And then when they became of age, they'd remove it, put in a legit implant.
There's, it's absolutely good to use them for single units. I wouldn't do any bridge work on it, obviously, but like I say, there are rogue dentists out there that do that because they're inexpensive. The patient needs something, and they'll say, "We'll throw a mini in." I mean, I've seen them coming out of people's noses. I mean, they really abused them for a long time, so it got a bad name. And they had a really small diameter. They had a smaller 1.8 that was breaking a lot, and that's really too small.
Yeah.
So we got rid of that, and that's the main reason. One of the main reasons 3M didn't want to deal with them anymore because they were snapping the heads off. They just torqued them off as they were putting it in the mouth.
How the hell do you get that thing out after that?
Yeah,
That's not a fun day.
So we did so we've been leading the mini market. We call it the More now. It's the More.
I have
it's
heard that.
yeah, mini O-ring. That's what the More stands for. And we take
you
a
guys
lot
know
of
what that stands for, but not ERA.
Oh, like I said, there's a lot. It's an inside joke about the ERA, what it really stands for. So I don't like to go out and say because people have heard one thing or the other.
Yeah.
But basically, the end of it is resilient attachment.
Yeah,
so
okay,
you can
I
put
get
whatever
you.
you want at the front.
I get it.
But
Elvis.
there you go. We like Elvis. There you go. And now we have our True and Pure line, which is conventional, standard implants.
You have every restorative option that goes on top of it.
All the abutments. We have our. Well, we talk about our the ERA attachments. We have our snap abutments, which I'll talk about. It's very similar to the locator. The ORA ball attachment that goes on there. So those attachments go across 180 systems. So they're very versatile. but including our own
Sure,
implants.
of course, yeah.
And so, like I said, they're called the True and the Pure. And we've got the Pure, which is basically it's a Zimmer tapered screw vent. Not a copy. We don't call it a copy.
No, it's compatible.
It's compatible. It's substantially compatible, or equivalent, we call it. And then we have the True, which is basically a Nobel replace implant.
They're not talking my language.
Yeah,
so.
sorry, Barb.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but I'm not an implant tech. But
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
and we we're wrapping our digital workflows around those, and we've got some exciting things we're planning right now for guided surgery coming out, and it's we were at Lab Day West, and we brought out a new initiative that we have, and it's called our Lab Partnership Program, where we are going to our labs to help them engage their doctors to help them save some money. And basically we introduced a $99 package where you can get the implant and all the parts, all the restorative parts for $99.
To the dentist?
To the lab or the dentist. Yeah.
Wow.
$99
$99
an implant?
And all the parts.
And which parts? Any parts?
All the restorative, either all the analog parts for the restorative piece, except for custom abutments. So we have straight abutments, or if you want to do a tie base, it would be included. Or the digital side. So whatever parts you're going to need to restore that, both on the lab and the clinical side, we're going to include those. The screws and the healing caps and the analogs.
Does it come together? What if you place the implant and all of a sudden the parts you wanted to restore it with don't really work with where you ended up placing it?
Well, I mean, you're going to get the parts based on what treatment
plan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The treatment plan is going to dictate what you get. So. Sure. And we'll support you however we need to get you the parts you need.
That's not a bad deal, $99.
That's got to be selling like crazy.
Oh, they were coming up to the booth to me at Lab Day West and just, how can you do this? It's like you cannot do this. We're not trying to drive the price down. It's just this is the value we can offer because we manufacture everything right in Massachusetts. I mean, it's all American made.
I mean, what does a Mini cost? It's got to be. I mean, I'm just saying this is better than a Mini.
Yeah. They're going to be in the $70 dollar range.
Is that how much they are? I don't know. Yeah. So just a little bit more, you get a much more substantial
You get a standard implant. Yeah, you get a standard implant.
And you get all the restorative
parts, yeah.
Interesting.
And the clinical parts, too. So it's a great deal. So a little bit of a disruptor. We knew it was going to be, but we've got some good traction with it, and we're excited about it. So
cool.
But like I said, we're an implant company. We sell implants now, and we're proud of that. And we're trying to wrap our heads around digital workflows, however they work, whether it's guided surgery, whether it's digital dentures, whether it's single crown and bridge implant, crowns. So that's the new
way of the world.
Yeah. So that's how we're going. So it's an exciting time right now. We're still lean and mean at Stern Gold. It's always been that way. It's a great culture, very much of a family. When we're working together.
Family owned or
it's privately owned? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. Do you ever miss being at the bench?
I do. In fact, I have a lot. I have some opportunities to go back to the bench and do some things. We're doing a lot of testing of printing materials and milling material. We're doing a lot of, we're milling and printing dentures. So get to go back and do some things there. And I've got a bench in my garage at home. But the last couple of years I've been, I've had my hands pretty dry. But there are opportunities where, we have our technical department in Attleboro, and we get to go back and get our hands dirty, and it's fun. And whether it's training situation or whether it's actual polishing a denture or whatever, it never gets out of your blood. You got to get back and use your skills, because that's what's exciting about. That's why I became a lab technician to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's exciting. I mean, it's a proud thing.
Agree.
So,
that's awesome, Gene.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Been good to be with you. Thanks for spending some time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Spent a lot of time with ERA parts in my life.
Yeah, everybody knows about Stern Gold. They say, well, you're Stern Gold. No, you're with Stern Gold now. Wow, they've been around forever. Yeah, we have. So
I had no idea it was that old.
125
years next year. So
Very
look forward.
impressive.
That's crazy.
Hopefully, it's my last rodeo. So I'm counting on that. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, Gene. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yep,
appreciate it.
Hey Barb, did you know that Grow3X wants to help lab owners to get better at marketing their own labs?
Yes, I do. And I think, from what I hear, they offer quite a number of marketing programs.
Heck yeah, that's true. They just had a marketing summit earlier in November in Charlotte, North Carolina, where they had a bunch of lab and business owners present their best marketing practices.
That is really cool. I really wish I would have been there.
Me too. But now they're getting ready for their Dental Marketing Masters program next year in May. This is going to also be in Charlotte. It will be a 2 full-day workshop that goes deep into the why, how, and whats of dental marketing.
So everybody listening, make sure you register early as Grow 3X currently offers an early bird registration special.
So how early is early?
How early, you ask? Well, you have until the end of the year to save some big bucks.
I gotcha. You know what other thing I really like about the marketing program?
Do tell.
Well, they have a Grow 3X marketing scholarship for young dental marketing professionals under the age of 30. So that rules both of us out, Barb.
All right.
This scholarship offers free tuition for up to 3 young lab owners, dental marketing folks, office managers, and etc.
I love that. Can you please tell me how to apply?
Just go to the event section at grow3x.com. That's GRO3X.com. Click on the Dental Marketing Masters and fill out an application at the bottom of the page.
Anything else you have to say?
Absolutely, I do. You know I always have something else to say. Grow3X will donate $100 per applicant to the Foundation for Dental Laboratory Technology.
What?
For the first 10 applications they receive. So remember, if you're under 30, which is not us, and interested in stepping up your marketing game, make sure you apply ASAP, and no later than January 30th, 2022.
That is fantastic. Awesome.
Thank you, Grow3X, and we appreciate your support of the podcast.
A huge thanks to Whitney and Jean for sitting down with Elvis and I at the Whitmix Digital Forum. It was really a great event. I think that was the first event that I've been to in a couple years. So it was filled with a lot of great speakers and attendees, and we are happy that the two of you got to sit down and chat with us. We expect nothing but amazing things from Whitney in the coming years. I think she's speaking at Cal Lab. I just saw that today.
Seriously?
Yes, sir. And if you are on Facebook, you can see that she is very busy on ExoCAD and 3Shape discussion groups. And I know that she would welcome any questions that you might have. And she probably has a bunch of questions for you too. So that is what it's all about, learning and growing from each other, especially at an event like the Whitmix Digital Forum and beyond. We've got Chicago, we've got NADL, we've got all kinds of stuff coming up next year. So let's do it.
Well, that's all we got for you. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Bye, Nasally.
Bye.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just that time of the year. Kids are back in school. Things are festering.
Yeah.
It's